Are you a closet perfectionist or a recovering perfectionist like myself? Perfectionism is a mentality, a habitual state of mind that could slow you down, derail, or even prevent you from fulfilling your highest potential, from executing on your big vision, and from living a joyful and successful life. And that's why today we'll talk about a sense of accomplishment for perfectionists. So please make sure you share this broadcast with friends, family members, and colleagues, anyone who must see this. Grow your wealth, live on your terms. Hello, driven people. Welcome to the Conversations with Experts, the show that allows you to connect with experts in different areas of life. Our intention is to help you be your best self and create your best life. I'm Elin Lewis, the host of this show and financial independence mentor. Are you a hard-working professional who is working hard, or maybe busy entrepreneur who wants to be financially independent, so that you work because you want to, not because you have to? Then you are in the right place. Look, it's okay to be broke. It's okay to be old. Just don't be both at the same time. If you want your money experiences to be different, you've got to do something different than you used to do in the past. So here's what to do next. Go ahead and download the Wealth Planner for free. And here's the link. Download this Wealth Planner for free and work your way through it right away. And if you want real-time support, join me for free. Join me at the free Facebook group, and here's the link for that, to get real-time support. It's a Wealth Building for Powerful Women group. It's a great group to be part of, and I highly recommend you to join us. All right, and now let's move on to our topic today, which is a sense of accomplishment for perfectionists. And my wonderful guest today is Elizabeth Wanyabor. Welcome, Elizabeth. And I'm sorry if I mispronounce your last name. Could you please remind me how you pronounce it?
It's Onyabor.
Onyabor. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let me start. Elizabeth is quite amazing woman and quite amazing leader. So let me introduce her formally a little bit, and then we'll jump into a very interesting journey that she went through. As a founder and Chief Ease of Excellence Officer of Habitual Happiness Hub, Elizabeth Wanyabor helps entrepreneurs, business owners, and other business leaders find freedom from the pressure to make things perfect. Boy, I know this pressure. So that these leaders can enjoy a lasting sense of accomplishment, experience a lifetime of joy, and achieve their dreams. Elizabeth is a speaker, poet, singer, and songwriter, and award-winning best-selling author. And she has trained and mentored and coached leaders around the world for over 25 years. Welcome again, Elizabeth. So happy to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Millen. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So I have a lot of questions to ask you, and as always, I want to start with your story, a little bit, a little piece of maybe overview of your journey and why you, out of all the things that you've done and could focus on, why you focus on perfectionist.
Thank you. So I come from a line of perfectionists, but I didn't realize this. But let me just kind of synthesize a couple of stories here. So my mother was a perfectionist. My father was an entrepreneur. And my dad was always chasing an idea to make $1 million. And it really turned me off from entrepreneurship because it felt so risky to me. And I remember thinking, you know, it's a fairy tale. It's never going to happen. And because my dad was always losing money in these businesses, he'd make money and then he'd lose money. And so my mom was the steady Eddie. And so I had this sense of, well, I should be in a corporate position. And by the way, you saw the lights go on and off. I'm in Nigeria, so that's what happens with the electricity here. So I worked in corporate for many years, and I had a real struggle with entrepreneurship. And as I started to embrace my entrepreneur journey, I was a couple of years into it, and just the pressure for perfection hit me like a tsunami, and I was burnt out and overwhelmed, and I just didn't know what the next step was going to be. I didn't even know if I wanted a next step. I mean, it really just froze me in my tracks. And I had some encouragement from my family, and I talked to friends, and I got my way out of hitting rock bottom. But it took me a while to realize that this was all rooted in my striving for perfection and never feeling good enough. I felt like a total failure no matter how much I had achieved. I mean, on the outside, I looked successful, you know, the money, the car, the house, the nice job, lovely career, beautiful family. It seemed like I had it all. And I felt inside like I was empty. And
so familiar. I'm listening to you and I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I'm sure that so many women can relate, and maybe just people in general can relate to what you just described, because the superficial level is not the same as feeling fulfilled, feeling joyful inside. And somehow at some point, this kind of gets revealed to you that you feel empty inside. So, and I know that you just mentioned that you are in Nigeria now, and you are from America, right? From the United States originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really briefly, tell me this journey from one country to another, because again, a lot of people probably can relate. I certainly can relate to this as well. Just really give us a little bit of context, like what is happening in your life right now.
Yeah, so we moved to Nigeria because my husband is from here originally, and we always planned to move here. So 20-something years into our marriage, we ended up moving to Nigeria back for him, me for the first time. So I couldn't find a job here. I wanted a job here, and that really pushed me into entrepreneurship. So I've been running a successful human resources consulting business for the past 10 years. And then when I hit that rock bottom and I was emerging from it, poetry started coming as a way of healing. And I had never considered myself creative. I mean, I never would have said poet or author or singer-songwriter. If you had asked me before, I would have been like, I'm logical. I help, organizations transform. And leaders transform. But then I basically hired a coach, and together we worked on transforming me. So.
It's so interesting how certain external circumstances reveal certain characteristics and traits and talents and desires sometimes, right? Like it has to when we are living the routine life and everything is the same as it was yesterday, it's very hard to discover or create something new. And that's why shifts, for someone it might be moving to another country. For someone else it could be, like in my case, it was going through some very drastic changes in my personal life and professional life. When we discover something about ourselves, and it's amazing how the universe orchestrates this opportunity for us that sometimes maybe on the surface looks like a challenge or a problem or an issue we're going through, and then something beautiful comes out of it. So thank you for sharing this, how you discovered that you are a poet and a singer and a songwriter. This is incredible. I'm curious what would need to happen in my life for me to discover that I'm a poet and maybe a painter or something like that, because this is something that I like to read poems. I like to see beautiful paintings, but I can never imagine myself being that creative person.
Well, I mean, I could totally relate to that several years ago. Like, I mean, I would write them down and I would say, oh, these aren't good. I mean, nobody's going to be interested in this.
Hello, perfectionist. Hello, perfectionist.
Yeah, hello, perfectionist. Right? Never good enough.
Yeah.
But it was really, for me, I was not allowing myself to express my emotions. I had this sense that if I, like, it was kind of the control freak in me or something. It was also tied to trying to be a perfectionist, that, if I could just be like a Spock in Star Trek, then, I wouldn't have these difficulties. And I grew up with this sense that to show anger is sinful. And so I had this religious baggage, and I had awareness early on in my self-development journey that I was like in the 1% of access to anger. Like 99% of people had better access to their anger than I did.
And again, like even at accessing my anger, how come I cannot be in this perfect group of other people? Like why I'm kind of outsider even when it comes to accessing my anger. It's amazing. You also mentioned wanting to be in control. This is also, I believe, a trait of perfectionism. Because perfection is, if I only was perfect like this person and I could control my emotions, if I could only control my circumstances, etc., it's a trait of perfectionism. So I wanted to ask you, like, why would you focus and work with your clients on creating a lasting accomplishment? Like why this is important for perfectionists, recovering perfectionists like myself, or closet perfectionists who may not even be aware that they have this mentality that prevents them from basically being joyful at any task, any activity, any project that they want to achieve. Why lasting sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, so basically, here's the crux of perfectionists, right? So we strive for perfection, but all the time never quite feel that things are good enough, which means that we are not good enough because we're trying to create those things. And then we're usually high achievers. Like I took this StrengthsFinder self-assessment and it said I was a high achiever. As my primary theme, but it said I would never be satisfied. And I thought, oh, I'm destined to never be satisfied. Is that why I feel like this void like every time I have an accomplishment, it just gets sucked into this black hole of nothing. And I'm like, okay, I'm doomed. It's just part of it's like going to be my life. But I'm really happy to report that they're wrong, because there is the opportunity to have a sense of fulfillment, accomplishment. You know, I've talked to so many perfectionists who say, I have accomplishments as a person. I've achieved a lot, but I don't have a lasting sense of accomplishment. And it just, you know, there's a hole that hasn't been filled.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Boy, I can relate to this. So I would like to ask you, because there are a lot of challenges to feeling this sense of lasting accomplishment. What would be the 3 top challenges that you would you could share with us in terms of people who are perfectionists or recovering perfectionists, who still, no matter what they accomplish in life, they don't have this lasting sense of accomplishment? What are these 3 obstacles or challenges that prevent them from feeling that?
Okay, so there's quite a number, but I'm going to narrow it down to 3 for our purposes right now. And I would say, like, the number one, the most critical, the core thing is this perfectionist mindset. And it's actually a double bind. It puts us in a no-win situation. And here's the way it works. And I mean, every perfectionist. So if you're like, I'm not a perfectionist, but if this resonates with you, you're a perfectionist and you just don't realize it. Like Millen said, closet perfectionist. I know them. You know, and they're like, wait, I am a perfectionist. Oh, so what happens is this mindset, and it develops very early on, is this. We set high expectations. We're proud of our expectations. We're proud of our high standards. We feel like it's our superpower, right? And we set them so high that we have trouble achieving them. And then when we don't achieve them, we beat ourselves up for not achieving them. We're really hard on ourselves. Any little mistake, I mean, that inner critic voice. And on the opposite end, if we set a really high expectation, as we do, because, you know, perfection, that's a high expectation. And then, like, we work really hard and we get it. We achieve it. Then it's like, oh, well, that was maybe too easy. We need to set it higher next time. So whether we achieve it or not, we're still beating ourselves up, and it doesn't last. So it's kind of like a hamster on a wheel. We keep thinking if we try harder and we run faster, or we do, you know, something different, we're going to get to that sense of accomplishment. But it doesn't happen. That no matter how many achievements, that hole, you know, is still there. So that's the number one challenge, and that's the root of it. So this perfectionist mindset of, I set an unrelenting standard, and if I meet that standard, well then, maybe I should have set it higher because that was maybe too easy. Or I don't meet the standard, then I'm like, I'm such a failure. So it's this no-win situation that sets us up. So we are never feeling good enough about what we've done. So that's number one.
And it's all rooted in, I'm just listening to you, it's all rooted in this very deep, hidden sense of I'm not good enough. It's just like, no matter what you do, oh, maybe you accomplished that, but you could have done that, and you could have pushed higher or whatever. It's like, I never accomplished enough, no matter what. There is always like high peak to to target, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
I'm just sharing from my experience.
Yes. I mean, I know it resonates with you because we've talked about this. So
Yeah.
but it's so deeply ingrained, and I had this insight that I felt like I needed to earn love, and like my mom and dad's love, even though logically I knew my parents loved me. Like I had a lot of very nurturing things that happened in my home as a child, and so logically it didn't make sense, but emotionally I felt the need to earn love, and I don't know if it's that way for all perfectionists, but I know it was that way for me.
Yeah. And so I would like to hear from you, like, what are the ways that people like me, I'm not closet perfectionist anymore. I'm recovering. That's how I feel, because I notice this. I'm aware of these traits, and I notice when it happens, and I stop myself, etc. But there are people who are closet perfectionists, or just not even, maybe they're aware of this, but they don't want to admit. Some people don't want to admit that, yes, I'm perfectionist, especially when someone says, you know what, you sound like a perfectionist and it's not good for you. And, the reactive part right away wants to say, no, I'm not a perfectionist, right? Like, again, I speak from experience. So I would like to hear from you, what do you recommend to your clients, how they can overcome these challenges? Are there some very specific steps, very specific actions that they can take to overcome this?
Yes. So I just want to highlight the other two key challenges first, and then we'll go into the solutions, right? So the number one thing is the perfectionist mindset. The number two thing that feeds into that because of the perfectionist mindset is that fierce inner critic that tells us that nothing we ever do is good enough, and it, coulda, shoulda, woulda, all of that. And then the third thing is productivity. No matter what kind of progress we make, we just don't feel like we're ever getting enough done. There's never enough time in the day. We beat ourselves up about procrastination. So these are like the three key challenges, I would say, as perfectionists. So what I've done is I've developed a system about what worked for me, and based on the science and all the research. And then I've developed a 7-step model, and wait for it, it spells perfect, PERFECT, because it's a new way of looking at perfect. So the first step is to really explore and understand, like you said, Millen, you have awareness now of when these things are coming up for you. And it's not like, oh, today I'm a perfectionist, tomorrow I won't be. Like, it doesn't happen like that. And when we experience new things that are uncomfortable, we go back into kind of this, let me control something through the perfectionist, and kind of, things will come up again. So truly understanding perfectionist mindset. So P, perfectionist mindset, is the first step. E is excellent goals, not perfect goals. Okay, excellent goals. The R of the 7-step model is results, and we're talking about results in a different way. The F is about finding forgiveness. The E is about empathy and self-compassion. The C is connection with the whole self. And T is to take time to celebrate the progress that we've made, because we don't do that enough as perfectionists. So
we don't.
Those are the 7 steps, but I'm going to talk about just 3, okay? 3 very simple things that each person could implement today or tomorrow without a lot of effort. And you probably already do these things because, you're farther along in your journey, but, the number one thing that I would recommend is start looking for things to appreciate. You can call it gratitude, you can call it appreciation, but just ask yourself, what is one thing I appreciate today? That's it.
And simple yourself, and very, very powerful, very powerful.
Very powerful. And, you know, it trains your brain. There's a whole bunch of neuroscience behind this. And this is one of the first things that I started doing. And I want to tell you that when I started doing it, I gave myself permission to look for appreciation. But if I didn't feel appreciation, it was okay. I would write that down too. So it was really about expressing emotion, right? Because at the time I was so burned out, I was so stressed that, you know, life didn't seem, you know, all so grand to me. And so I would look for things to appreciate, like, what is one thing I appreciate today? Well, I appreciate that I'm really, you know, stressed today, blah, 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 blah. But the mere act of looking helps to train our brain. And the neuroscience is really powerful on this.
Okay. I'm excited about number 2 and number 3 steps. Go ahead.
Okay, so number 2 is celebration. Just what is one simple step that you can celebrate about progress, not yet achievement? Like what little thing did you do? Okay, for example, I was working with a business owner, and she was so excited when she came to the coaching session. She said, you know, I've really been trying to fit workout into my schedule, and she's really busy. And she said, so I'm going to give myself credit today for putting on my workout outfit, even though I didn't actually work out, because that's progress, because I haven't done that in like weeks. Like I took a step forward. And, you know, it's not about the 150% or the 100%. It's about the simple steps we take every day. Somebody said to me, 1% over 100 days is 100%.
It's beautiful. All right. So first, appreciate, second, celebrate, and the third?
And the third is compassion. Our critical inner voice can be so devastating. And, you know, we wouldn't talk to a best friend or someone we love like that. So why do we talk to ourselves like that?
Very true. Very, very true.
So just, you know, what would I tell myself if I were a best friend? What kind of compassion would I offer? Because we're so hard as perfectionists when we make a little mistake, or what we perceive is something that we should have been able to avoid, or, you know, something like that. Believe me, I know, like I was so hard on myself. And the research shows that as leaders, you know, when we're leading a business, when we're leading people, and certain occupations, there is an expectation, there's a higher standard applied to us. And so we ratchet up the perfection, and it really stresses us out. So we need to offer ourselves compassion. So 3 simple steps: appreciation, celebration, and compassion, with 3 questions, which is, what is one thing I appreciate today? What is one simple step I can celebrate? And what would I tell myself if I were a best friend?
I love the simplicity of these steps, of these questions, and power that is inherited in these steps once we take them. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing this with us today. I know that it helped me to really look in the mirror again and notice how certain things that you described resonated with me, which means that I still have these tendencies, and I still want to release some of them, and maybe appreciate more and celebrate more, and also be more compassionate, not only toward others but toward myself. So these are great steps. Thank you so much. And I know that you have a gift for our followers and our listeners today. So would you please let people know how they could receive this gift from you, and how they could connect with you?
Yes, great. Thank you very much. So I have a gift. It's an ebook, and the title is 3 Keys to Feel Good Enough. And it's a 30-day guide to build lasting joy. So I take you through some additional steps. So there's 9 steps over a 30-day period to help you really practice, and you'll see things like appreciation are there, and compassion and things like that. So you can download that from my website, elizabethonyapple.com/3keys.
Yeah, and I have this link on this in the banner. So please grab this ebook, because Elizabeth is a master at helping those closet or recovering perfectionists, or those who don't even know that they suffer from this. It's kind of dis-ease. It is a form of dis-ease, because when you are perfectionist, you most of the time you cannot really experience ease and joy, and that's why I call it dis-ease. So grab this ebook. It's a wonderful opportunity, great gift. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you for sharing this with us, and thank you for taking time to speak with me. And to all of you who are watching right now, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and joining us today. I hope it was helpful. I hope it will help you to be your best be and to live your best life. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, on the Dare to Change Live Facebook page. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye now.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.